Hey guys, Sean Malone here. Just wanted to shoot a quick update, share with you guys a few things that are going on, some things that are coming up, a couple ways that you guys can connect, and a few announcements. I'm going to do that at the end. First, I want to share just a couple of testimonies and really a word of encouragement that I think is going to bless you guys. So hang on and watch to the end of this video because I think it'll be worth your time. Anyway, I just got back from the Voice of the Apostles conference up in Ohio with Randy Clark and Heidi Baker, Leif Hetland, Dr. Mike Hutchings, and Joanne Moody. It was an awesome conference. And then was also able to attend the Global Awakening Network of Ministries. It was a ministry advance. Been part of that ministry. We've been part of that network for the last 15 years. There's such a blessing to Cry. And they just provide support and covering to us, and just a blessing. But anyway, so I attended this conference, and on my way home, Laura picked me up from the airport. I had about 3 hours sleep. I was pretty tired, and we decided we were going to go to brunch on the way home. We went to a popular brunch spot, and while we were there, Laura dropped me off at the front door of this popular restaurant, and it was pretty funny because she said, I'll drop you off at the front and go ahead, go in, get us a table, which I did. I ran in, and they immediately sat me down. I found it was interesting too that they sat me in the only seat that I've ever sat in that restaurant. I only went one other time. I went on a daddy-daughter date with my daughter Aaron, and that seat was open. So I just, they sat me down, and Laura came in, and she goes, "How did you get a seat so quick?" They said it was a 55-minute wait. And so we just felt the favor of God, and we had our brunch and ordered food. And I'm sitting there, and I'm telling Laura stories about what the Lord did at the conference, how he encountered my heart, and just connecting with people. And it was just so refreshing in so many ways. And specifically, I got to reconnect with Leif Hetland. And Leif is an important part of the Christ story. And what I mean by that is, one, we did our first international project with him. We shipped a container of shoes and a pallet of peanut butter to an orphanage over in Tanzania. And if any of you guys out there been through Cry training, heard me tell the squirrel story, that was connected to Leif in that project, when the squirrel was running around with the empty peanut butter jar on its head. Anyway, I could easily digress and go down that road, but I'll try and stay on track here. Anyway, also a very significant story that I know that I've shared with you guys often on my first international ministry. I don't know why I can't talk today. On my first international mission trip was with Leif, and I had a significant encounter with the Lord and with my father at the airport. Leading up to that trip, absolutely changed my life, changed the trajectory of my life, and anyway, so it was just really significant reconnecting with Leif at the conference, and I was telling Laura over brunch. I was trying to tell her the story, and after I had met with Leif, I was just weepy for hours, and I felt like there was just a fresh impartation of the Father's love and the love of God, and just amazing. It was just washing over me. And even as I was telling the story to Laura, I'm just like weeping into my food and could barely talk. And the waitress is coming over. I'm crying. And so anyway, as the meal went on, Laura got up to go use the restroom. And the waitress had, we had already paid our bill. And, we said our goodbyes and whatnot. And she happened to glance over at the table. And when she did, the Lord said, "Tell her she's a defender of children." And she started to walk away, but then she happened to look back again, and we caught eyes, and I waved her over, and she came over, and I grabbed her hand, and I said, "What's your name?" And she goes, "My name is Goddess." And I said, "Is that your real name?" And she said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Wow, that's an amazing name." And I said, "But as I was looking at you, I heard the Lord tell me that you're a defender of children." And she goes, "Whoa, you're really blowing my mind right now." And anyway, I said, "Well, I don't know what it is that you do, but I do want to tell you that I just feel like, I don't know if it's orphans or disadvantaged kids, but you're a protector of children. And I just want you to know that God's put that in your heart. And she's like, whoa, I can't believe this. I said, what? And she goes, well, I'm the elementary school security guard. And I said, well, the Lord did that, but it's gonna expand from there, and wait and see what God's gonna do with that. But that's a desire and a passion that, the Lord's put in your heart. I said, matter of fact, let me ask you, and I felt like the Lord said, ask her what her passion is. I said, what is your passion? She goes, being the elementary school security guard. And I said, God put that in your heart, and He loves you. And she stands back and she goes, brother, that's got some serious comeback sauce on it. And we kind of laughed. She goes, can I just give you a hug? And I stood up and I gave her a big hug. And then she looked at Laura and she said, can I give you a big hug? And we're all crying. And the people in the restaurant were just kind of like looking around, and people could feel like this thing happening. And it was just, everybody was just kind of looking. I wish I would have been more aware of what the Lord was doing, because it even like trickled out to the people standing outside, like behind the plate glass windows. Because when we went out, we started to engage in conversation with those people as well. And it was just really, really interesting. And I have to admit, like when I first saw the waitress, she had tattoos up her arm, and she had these braids in her hair. She was, really physically fit. And I was a little intimidated by the package that I was looking at. But, as I was sitting there stewing in the love of God, that's where that word came. And it made me think of another story. I remember years ago, I was working in the major motion picture business, and there was a witch, or a girl who was involved in witchcraft, and she was making necklaces with my father's name and doing certain things. And, I kind of immediately like started to go, into warfare mode and praying, for my father. And my father actually expressed concern to my mother about it. And, I'm like ready to like, I'll get her, God, that sort of thing. And I remember I was in an all-night prayer meeting, and I was leading an all-night prayer meeting on Long Island. This is right before 9/11. And the Lord spoke to me. He said, Sean, if you would see her with my eyes, then you'll watch her come to me. And I can't tell the whole story right now, but it was really interesting. For several months, after the Lord spoke to me about that, she ended up on a job I was working on. And I would go find these little prayer rooms and these little, chapel, because we were working a lot of cathedrals, and she would come find me. And she was just like drawn to God. She was a real seeker. And my heart turned towards her, and I began to see her as a seeker, not as a witch trying to cast spells and, whatever. And it was really interesting how those events turned around, because I eventually did. She followed me into a cathedral one day, and they were singing the liturgy, the Valley of the Dry Bones, and we were both literally glued to our seats. The presence of the Lord was so strong. She followed me back out the front of the building, and she sat next to me, and she was just weeping. And I said, what's going on right now? She said, you don't understand. I'm a Jew, and I'm a witch, and I've never stepped foot in a church building before. And and I began to share the love of God with her, and she received that love into her heart. It was pretty dramatic, but it made me think about this time of the year, but it also made me think about the power of love. And I was reading in 1 John 3 the other day. It says this. It says, I got to put my glasses on. Look with wonder at the depth of the Father's marvelous love that He's lavished on us. He has called us and made us His very own beloved children. The reason the world doesn't recognize who we are is that they didn't recognize Him. And I was just thinking about, is the world recognizing the Father in us? Is the world recognizing Jesus in us? Are we emulating the love of God? And I'm just realizing on the heels of this conference, like the Lord's waking my heart up fresh to love. Now, obviously I'm in compassion ministry, but it's really easy to, to not be steeped in the love of God. And when the love of God is evident and present in our life, guys, that's where all fruit comes from. You know, the Bible also says that the love of many will grow cold in the challenges and in the controversy and in the fence of the day and the age that we live in. And we need to make sure that we're growing in the love of God and growing in love for others. And I'm just going to read one more scripture and I'm going to end this thing. But 1 John 3:16 says this. I've just been in the Epistle of John. All 4 chapters are just absolutely amazing. I encourage you to go read them if you haven't read them in a while. But it says this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And this is how we know that we belong to the truth and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence, because we got the first commandment in first place and the second commandment in second place. We're loving God with all of our heart and we're loving others around us. So I just want to encourage you to operate in love, to move in love, and watch what the Lord does. It has just been a remarkable season. God is doing something. There's something new happening, and it's just been really interesting. Every day I can, share testimony after testimony of God moving in my midst, the love of God being spread out. And I can't wait for the next opportunity to see God move. And so hopefully today for you, wherever you are, you're feeling the same way. And encourage you, just get in God's presence, get into his love. You're his favorite. You got an A+ just for getting up this morning, and then go give it away to somebody else. So couple of announcements and a way that you guys can connect with us real quick. I'm going to try and keep this real short. One, I want to just, announce to everybody the response phase down in Florida that has ended. We've collected our gear. We've brought a couple of the trailers back. There's a couple of trailers still down there, but they're not operating right now. We're going to bring those back. We are looking for opportunities right now in terms of the rebuilding phase and what that might look for. Sorry, B just almost flew in my mouth. Looking at the rebuilding phase right now. And I don't like bees. Well, it's actually a yellow jacket. We're looking at the rebuilding phase, what we could do. It's in my heart. I would love to do some sort of Thanksgiving outreach in a couple of different churches or a couple of different areas down there. So we're just looking into that, praying about that, look for more information in that regard. And I just feel like there's more that we can do down there. And anyway, so that's that. The other thing I want to say is, let's see, it's November. Still recovering from the last 6 weeks of travel. I was home for 6 nights in the last 6 weeks, but I'm getting back on my feet here. But the Worship and Warfare Conference is going on at Morningstar, and that's going to be Don Potter. He's coming in, and Kalani, and I know they have a few other speakers. But guys, let me tell you, God's doing something really new and exciting at Morningstar, and it's just 10 minutes away from here, and I've been hanging out there. I've been doing some things with them and leading their Special Forces program. It's been really awesome, really exciting. But guys, I'm telling you, something is breaking out in that place. Chris Reed has just been really interesting to watch how the Lord's been moving there. Just really powerful stuff, and really excited to be a part of that in this season and just watch that unfold. But a bunch of us are going to be going to the conference. Again, it's Worship and Warfare Conference, November 3rd through the 5th. That's this weekend coming up. And I just encourage you, come to Charlotte, come check it out. Now, if you're in the area or if you're at the conference, on Saturday the 5th, during the dinner break from 4:30 to 6:30. There's a registration link. I'll put that in the comments or wherever this is posted. You just have to RSVP so we know how many meals to prepare. But you can come over to my house, and we're going to share a meal together, maybe do some ministry, share some testimonies, just a responder meetup. And if you're maybe just even new to Cry, a Cry responder, why don't you come connect with us, and you can find out more about how to get involved as well. So anyway, that's that. Love to see you guys, love to connect. And then lastly, I just want to say, for those of you who would like to, we invite people to come on up to the base for Thanksgiving. Me and my family are going to be up there, and we cook a big Thanksgiving meal for the base staff and for you guys as our guests. You just have to register online. Just go online, and there's no charge for that. It's just a way to say thank you and bless our partners, bless our responders, bless our friends. It's just something that we love to do. It's a beautiful time of the year. Usually the weather is amazing. Just to be up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, share a big Thanksgiving celebration meal together, and we'd love to see you guys. So anyway, that's my update. That's my report for right now. Again, thank you guys. Thank you for everybody's support during the response down in Florida. I just want to say this last thing, guys. We were serving anywhere from 500 to 1,000 meals a day. In the initial part, we were real busy with that, just trying to keep up. But once we got our legs under us after the first few days, man, the ministry was so powerful, and we really kept that mandate of sharing the love of God, sharing the gospel, praying for people, lots of healings, lots of salvation. It's just been so incredible to see what God is doing. This just feels like there's something new on the deployments. It's so exciting. I can't wait to deploy again. I know that means it takes a crisis for that to happen. I don't wish for the crisis, but when it does happen, I can't wait to get out the doors. Sign me up. I'm going out, and I'm going to make sure I'm out there on deployment, because God is on the move and is so faithful, and his love and his power is so evident. It was just so awesome too, just with all the baptisms and all the salvations. So much fun. So anyway, there's a lot more in my heart that I would love to share with you guys, a lot of exciting things behind the scenes, but my staff said, don't say anything until it's actually official. So I won't do that right now. So there you go, Wendy. Anyway, God bless you guys. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful fall weather wherever you're at. Such a beautiful time of the year, and can't wait to see you guys. Hope you guys can come connect. Come to the Worship and Warfare Conference, guys. I'm telling you, something awesome is happening here in Charlotte. Here at the Morning Star Ministry is really, really, really cool. Anyway, guys, thanks for your partnership. Thank you for your prayers and all your support. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.